Good evening and welcome to South Coast Marketing Group's virtual Q&A. Tonight we have a show unlike any other that we've had so far. Our guests tonight are Paul and Lauren from Disch's Tavern in Pembroke, Massachusetts. Paul is not anybody who's new to the game. He has been in the restaurant world since 1973. And like everybody else, last year and even the beginning of this year, it's something that nobody could plan for. There's no playbook, there's no history, there's nothing to figure out what you need to do to get through what we had going on here. So Paul, great story tonight. We're going to talk to him about what has happened this year, some staggering numbers that really hits home about a small business, a family-run business, what him and Lauren have done, and how Lauren has kind of been thrown into the mix here, unprepared, but has worked her way through this and gotten through. So without further ado, let's get going. We are live with virtual Q&A. All right, welcome back. We're here tonight, and I'm going to bring in Paul and Lauren right now. Welcome, guys. You can see they're still here at the restaurant tonight. They're working hard as always, digging away. Paul, like I said, you've been in the world of restaurant industry since 1973. You've seen a lot of things happen in the restaurant world. Nothing like what's happened with COVID. Initially, I want to talk about some staggering numbers right off the bat. One of the ones that really hits home. In 2020, 11 weeks were completely closed down for business. Couldn't operate, couldn't do anything, couldn't have takeout, couldn't do curbside pickup. That's staggering. To add to that, 34 weeks either being closed or limited capacity at a restaurant. How did you adapt to this when it happened? What did you do? Let's talk about that in general. Let's go back to March 13th last year when the wording came down and said, hey, this is starting to happen. We're getting through this. It's unbelievable what's happening. And we wanted to know exactly what it was. March 10th, state of emergency was declared. And then on March 17th, you're only allowed to do takeout. You can't have indoor dining anymore. What went through your mind?
Well, it was certainly a surprise, and it happened very quickly. And really what we tried to do was just take it day to day because things were happening so quickly. State of emergency on March 10th, moving to takeout on March 17th. But we were very fortunate because we didn't have to change, we didn't have to rebrand. Like a lot of restaurants had to rebrand, be someone who they really weren't, something, and trying to reinvent yourself in a situation like this makes it very difficult. So the fact that we didn't have to rebrand was big. The big transition was doing takeout. Because of my kitchen facility, I didn't do takeout on Friday and Saturday night when we were open for regular business. So we did takeout, but it wasn't a big part of our business. Now it's about 30% of our business. And, whether you're serving a meal in your restaurant or you're having food to go, the most important part is the quality and the consistency of the product. And number one, we decided not to do delivery because we didn't know when the food would be picked up, when it would be delivered, and we couldn't control it. And our food tends to be somewhat fragile. It does not really travel that well because it's all made to order. But we had to add additional staff, and we had to use hostesses who had never dealt with the food before. So we had a big thing as far as training them so that the orders would be taken correctly and processed properly. For instance, currently we have 5 people working the front of the restaurant. 2 are doing takeout, 2 are seating the restaurant, and 1 is supervising and filling in. And then I have 2 expos in the kitchen to ensure that the quality and the consistency and the timeliness are happening. So, you go through something like this and it really comes down to the people that you have. It really, I have all my kitchen people back, every one, which is, I just can't tell you how it's not easy, but it makes it so much easier. So the people, for the most part, were very supportive, and that really, and they assisted us in all the transitions we went through. I mean, you start, all of a sudden we started getting positive tests, and we had to close because we didn't know what the source was. The source the restaurant? Was the source a family member? We couldn't decide what to do until we got that. In November, I got the coronavirus, and Lauren had the coronavirus. So, again, we knew it was a family thing. It wasn't a restaurant thing. So it's the only thing I can say is, you take it one day at a time, and take it day to day, and try to do the right thing. And
there's a learning curve for everybody. I mean, right off the bat, like you said, having your staff come in and having to learn how to now do takeout that you've never really done on full scale like you did, it's a major learning curve for everybody, I'm sure. I mean, especially the kitchen crew alone, who's used to plating, expediting it out, sending it out. Now they have to worry about how they're going to put it in the takeout box and how it's going to package and go and still be presentable to a customer when they get it.
Yeah, and I think for my dad, we always, because he's been in the business for so long, like we've gone to him for every type of situation that we've ever had, and he's always had an answer, and it's always a good answer. And I think for the first time, he was looking back at us like, I don't know, so we just, it was kind of, we all just worked together, and it was kind of, trial and error. And we definitely struggled through a lot of it, but the beginning stages, just trying to put a plan together to how to operate efficiently with something that we've never done before. I think it was just, it was difficult for all of us, but I think that
at the end of the day, though, customers kept coming back. They're still here. They're still supporting you, which is it's a testament to what you've done and how you've done it. Paul, like I said, you've been through a lot. You've opened up a lot of restaurants. You've opened up a lot of locations throughout the country. Nothing like this you ever could have foreseen what would happen, how you would do it. Kudos to you for being able to adapt and adjust like you did. I know we've had some conversations about certain things that you wanted to try and wanted to do during COVID to keep things going. What were some of those things that you did to make it a little bit different for yourself?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I always go back to, just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's and trying to understand everyone's position.
Yeah. Now, did you do like some of the restaurants have done? Some restaurants have gone out and actually charged an extra meals tax during COVID for certain things like that. Did you go ahead and do that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Todd.
On like some restaurants have gone out and actually charged above and beyond on a meals tax and charged a COVID fee for serving during this time. Did you guys do that at all?
No.
Lauren, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. No, we did not. I know a lot of places did, and I understand that everyone was just trying to make it through. We fortunately were in a position where we didn't have to do that. But I think my dad and I would both agree that if it came down to it, where we were really struggling, and it was whether to add an extra tax on or put a couple extra dollars on items just to keep the doors alive, open, we would have done that, but we luckily didn't have to do that.
Excellent. No, which is great. That's a good thing to hear. One of the other questions I have, and actually before we get into any more questions, just to let our viewers know tonight, Disch's Tavern will be giving away a few gift cards tonight. Make a comment, ask a question here. We see it all on the comment boards coming up on the side here. So please reach out to us. Let us know you're here watching us. Send some praise if you want to see some praise. We're seeing it right now. Or any questions you have, just put it in the comment section here, and we'll be more than happy. And we're going to pick some winners pretty soon. So right away, and enjoy the show. So one of the other questions I had is, I know digital marketing wise, you guys had to really transition pretty quickly to figure out an online ordering system to be able to get people to online place their digital orders in, get it ready, order gift cards, things like that. How was that?
Well, the thing is that anything that you can do to generate revenue. I mean, we didn't have to rebrand, but we had to look for different outlets, and that's what we tried to do. But trying to maintain the brand and the quality of the brand. So we think the takeout has done so well because I think the execution is there. If there's a problem in the restaurant, we can fix it. If there's a problem with takeout, it's hard. You still can fix it, but it's very difficult to do. It's very frustrating for the guests. So, I mean, this team we have here has done an exceptional job. I mean, we've had some crazy busy nights and like really flawless. So I think that's the other thing is that the execution. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really what's most important. And whatever you do well and do on a consistent basis. So I think that this takeout and the online, have just added to our audience, if you will.
Yeah.
Listen, no one's making money. What you're trying to do is minimize the bleeding each week. And, between, things starting to open up a little bit. I mean, we've been very fortunate because we have a big restaurant. So when it comes to percentage of capacity, we're up there. Right now, we're at 140 seats. There are restaurants that are with 20.
Right.
We've been, I don't want to get into it because I feel, there's just so many people out there hurting. I spoke to the Mass Restaurant Association today, and the latest statistics are there are 16,000 restaurants in Massachusetts. 3,400 are closed.
Wow.
23%. 23%.
Staggering.
301,000 employees in the restaurant industry, 255,000 furloughed, 97,000 now employed. And the summer and the fall were much better business-wise. But a lot of restaurants, once the fall came and the winter came, they just closed down. So they figure there's about another 500 that are closed that hopefully will open up. So it's, we've just been very fortunate. Has it been a struggle? Absolutely. Has we been challenged? Absolutely. But it's we're in a much better position. We actually received 2 PPP loans, and it just happened to be they're using 2019 numbers, which was our best year ever, which means we had the most payroll, which we meant it benefited the money we got from the PPP loans. So that has been very helpful because I mean, there's 2 things we're trying to do. One, finish the race. Unfortunately, it's not a normal race. It's a marathon. It's 26.2 grueling miles that you have to cross the finish line to get on the other side.
Yep.
And
that 0.2 is unknown right now. That's a long 0.2. So that 0.2 miles you're running right now is still a long way to go.
Oh, yeah, it's like football. The toughest yards are the last 5 yards. There's no doubt. I mean, it's
the last 30 seconds that last 4 hours.
Well, we were sitting, if we talked 2 weeks ago, we were looking at them getting rid of the tip credit. Let me explain. The tip credit is what we pay servers and bartenders, service people. $5.55 an hour plus their tips. They were looking at eliminating the tip credit and moving the minimum wage to $15. That would have increased my payroll on a weekly basis 45.3%. It's those are the things that you got to keep watching.
Yeah, people don't realize the small things that affect you. I mean, just supply costs, payroll costs alone, things like that that start adding up in here, overhead costs. A lot of those things didn't go away when COVID hit. I mean, you still had an overhead to pay, you still had electricity, you still had employees you had to pay. Everything factored in, but a lot of people didn't realize that. I mean, that's where thankfully you were lucky enough to have a PPP loan to step in and help out with that. But still, I mean, 11 weeks being totally closed, that's zero income coming in. Zero. That's a huge.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. The first PPP loan, I mean, all of it was forgiven, thank God. But it was like late January that I was waiting for the second one. And I don't think I'd be sitting in this chair if the second one didn't come along. So, you know, it's that's when you're not open. And like you've said, the bills keep coming in. And, you know, the margin in the restaurant business, if you're doing 6-10%, bottom line, you're doing very well. So it's not like you have a lot of excess money sitting around. And remember, it's been 1 year. 1 year.
Yeah, which is huge.
So
now that spring's coming back, we're starting to get to the warm weather again. It's starting to hopefully open up for us. You guys adapted a lot to. You already had a small patio setting for outdoor dining. You added to that. How thankful were you being able to have that parking lot space that you could add additional outdoor dining and at least provide that when indoor dining was shut down for you? What kind of difference did that make?
Lauren, you want to take care of
that? Sure. I mean, we were so thankful that we were, allowed to extend our patio. Our patio typically in a normal year, it's just never, we've tried to dress it up. We've tried to, and it's just, you're in a parking lot and it is what it is. But this year we were able to extend it, kind of make it a little bit more comfortable for people, put some palm trees and stuff out there just to make it seem like you weren't so much sitting in a parking lot. And I think that if we can, if we're allowed to extend that into this season, I think it'll definitely help us. I think people are just still going to be weary about being inside, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And, I just think that the outside dining for us is gonna hopefully help us again, just to be able to create a space where everybody can feel comfortable.
Right, which is great. I mean, we created a video for you that you guys haven't seen yet. Kind of goes back through the history of last year, and we'll show some of those patio pictures that you did. I mean, it's a phenomenal job. Anybody who's been to Dishes knows what it was like and what you guys turned it into. It was a nice tropical oasis actually in the parking lot, which is hard to pull off, and you guys did it. But before we get into that, it's gift card giveaway time. I don't know, do you guys want to pull a winner off the comments here, or do you want us to do it for you?
You guys can do it.
All right, let's take a look here. Let's go with Kathleen Brenner. You are our first winner. Congratulations, Kathleen. We'll reach out to you, or you can reach out to the restaurant and pick up your gift card, and we'll take care of you there. Thank you so much for watching. All right, so with everything going on with COVID, and obviously you guys had some downtime, there's no question about that. One of the things everybody talks about is you turn to Netflix, you turn to Amazon Prime, you turn to HBO. What was your go-to to get by when, especially you guys both had COVID, you were stuck at home, you're sitting there. What'd you guys watch? People want to know.
Dad, you want to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Let's see. I really got into Schitt's Creek.
Nice.
That was, yeah.
I think that was a good go-to for everybody to get through COVID.
It was a nice little escape, make you laugh, and kind of escape what was going on at the moment. There was definitely a bunch of other, like pretty much everything on Netflix was my go-to every night.
Excellent. Can't fault you there on that one. I'm going to back you up on that one.
Dad, did you continue with your Blue Bloods or whatever it is that you watch?
Hill Street Blues?
No,
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you just, when you go through something like this, you don't really get a day off. Even when I had the coronavirus, I mean, I was thinking about, okay, where do we have to go? What are we going to have to do? And the thing is, it's like early on when the masks and the wipes and all these things, all of a sudden they were disappearing. So if you didn't stay on top of it, and that's like everything. So, Lauren had much worse than I did, but, I was mainly tired, and I had stomach issues. So I really wasn't, I'm not a TV guy. This is kind of what I do. So it's not,
I can say that he was definitely lost during this time. He
enlighten anybody as to what I was doing.
Yeah, he doesn't do well with idle time. So for me, to be able to sit back and watch a TV show, no big deal. But for him, he came to the restaurant every single day, even when we were closed. He was here, just looking at numbers, looking at past years, and trying to figure out how we were going to get through this. So, some of us at home were watching TV. He was figuring out the next step.
Nice. So with that, as far as obviously things changed in the sanitation world and what you had to do, what kind of things did you guys have to implement pretty much right away that you weren't doing before?
I think just basically we sat down and we made a protocol for what it was that we were going to do for sanitation purposes. It was, every 15 minutes we've had somebody, go around to all the doors, sanitize everything that we could. We, couldn't put utensils on the tables anymore. We had to do roll-ups. We put up the barriers on the bar. We took out a bunch of tables just because we knew if we left them there, that in a crisis moment where we needed to put people, we would put them down at that table. So we just said, everything is going to stay where it is. We're going to take out what we don't want to seat. All the bar stools, they can't be moved around. And it was tough to get people to understand why we were doing it the way that we were. But it was just, if you change one thing, it affects, the distance between another table. And so basically we just came up with a protocol of sanitation, and it was basically every 15 minutes one person would go around and do the certain things. We have a 6-foot pole that we would measure between tables, and it just became part of our everyday normal routine.
Yeah. Now, as far as going back to that, where you talked about the 6-foot rule inside the restaurant, which I was just there last week, and I know you have that, and all the tables are spaced out that way still, which is where you have to do. All the extra furniture you had. Obviously, the state wanted you to remove chairs, bar stools, things like that. How did that affect you guys? Did you guys have a place to put all that?
Well, because of our technical issues, I'm actually sitting with all the extra furniture downstairs in the basement right now. We have a huge basement, and when we first moved over here, my dad's OCD which is fantastic in the restaurant business. He cleared everything out of this basement. So we have plenty of room down here to just store everything until hopefully that time when we can bring it all back upstairs again.
Hopefully soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Can I interject for a minute?
Absolutely.
Lauren talked about the shields for the bar. I don't know what the date. Let me look. The date was. It's not important, but anyway. So Lauren came to me and said, "Dad, we can put up shields on the bar, and we can, I said, what? Shields on the bar? Because I always want to maintain the integrity of the restaurant. And she said, Dad, we're going to pick up 28 bar seats. I said, get me the name of the guy who makes those. That's the thing that we were dealing with. 28 seats, 28 bar seats. That's real solid revenue. So,
Yeah, usually my dad takes about a couple weeks to really make a decision on most things.
Really.
But I think I have to give him a lot of credit. Through this last year, he has learned that at some points you just have to say, okay, let's do it, and let's get it done. And so I applaud him for being able to, within 1 minute, say, order the shields.
Great. So going into that, Lauren, we talked about at the beginning of this, how you kind of have been thrown into this year. Learning the ways and helping out in the restaurant initially, and now being thrust into this. And if you've made it through this year like you have, and you've done a stellar job with that, being able to keep up with it, getting the messages out on social media, keeping in touch with people, letting people know what's going on in the restaurant. you can't explain even what you've been through. What has it been like? And your roller coaster ride.
It has been a lot, but I have to say that I didn't really have a choice. It was just kind of like we were just given the hand that we were dealt with, and my dad has always, whenever I needed something, he's always jumped in and helped me. So it was kind of my opportunity to be there for him, and it's not something that I would have. If it was a choice, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I'm glad that it wasn't, and it's been very difficult, but after it comes in stages. It's once we get through this, you feel good and you're like, okay, we survived that. And then something else happens and you're like, okay, well, and so we just kind of kept on moving along. And, I've had so much support from our fantastic staff, obviously my family. And I think we've all just helped each other, and especially in those moments where it's like, I feel like I don't know what to do right now. Like people come in and they, have carried us through. And, I'd like every time I think that we're there and we're ready to go and we're ready for what the next step is. There always is another challenge. And like we're facing right now, we're having a lot of, there's not a lot of people applying, and we're looking for a lot of people in anticipation for opening in full capacity. So I thought that at this point we'd be, in a good position, and I know we'll get there, but it's still just every step of the way. There's, you get to where you want to go, and then there's always another struggle, but I know that we've made it this far. So, we're going to make it through the end. And, I think that once this is over, I don't want to say this, but hopefully my job will be a lot easier than it's been the last year.
Well, nothing can be harder than what you've been through. That's for sure. One of the things you guys have done very, very well is your transparency about what's gone on in the restaurant. A lot of businesses have failed at that level. They've kind of tried to hide it. They haven't announced things. They've kind of just trying to shovel it under the rug and close down for a few days and then reopen again and just hope nobody noticed that they were closed. You guys didn't do that. You were very transparent on what it is. Paul, I know you and I have worked very hard on coming up with your state of dishes, the state of dishes for the website, to announce to everybody exactly what's happened in the restaurant, what's going on. How did you come about that? That was something you created on your own and said you wanted to kind of get out to the masses and let them know. Is that just from your years of experience, or where did that come from?
Well, the thing I've learned is it's best to be honest. I tell servers, you know what? If you tell one lie, you're going to have to tell 4 or 5 more to get out of it. So, I've just tried to do the right thing. Try to understand everyone's position, it's what I find is if you're upfront with people, and that's your that's what people expect of you. It really works on your behalf. I mean, I had when I did the post about our situation at the Disch's Tavern. I think I had one negative response. I don't know how many we got. Lauren would know more than I, but everyone was very positive, and I'm still today getting feedback of how much people appreciate my honesty, through this whole process. And I think long term, it's going to help our credibility because it wasn't. It wasn't easy.
It's nothing you guys did wrong. It's an unknown attack. You just don't know what to do with it. There's nothing you did wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, Todd, I got to tell you, I mean, people have been so supportive of us and what we're doing. But there's always Saturday night. I had 2 couples. Supposedly they got the vaccine, so they could show up with no masks. And I said, I'm sorry, you have to wear a mask. We got the vaccine. I don't know that. And the protocol is still masked. So, I mean, there's been some difficult situations. We actually had a guest come in who had tested positive and didn't tell us. Still came in the restaurant. So, but you know what? They're not even a percentage of the people. The percentage of the people are supportive. And one of the things you want to understand, we're in the retail business, but we're different. We're in the food business. People consume our product. So the more credibility you have, more successful you're going to be. And I think, we've established that, and that's how I've always tried to run my business, is to be honest and upfront. And you know what? If I make a mistake, I'll admit I made a mistake. I don't like to, but you have to. You have to, and it serves. If I lose my temper with an employee, everyone sees it. But if I go back to that employee and apologize and say, "Listen, my point was correct, but how I handled it was wrong," that sends a message. It sets an example. It becomes part of the culture that we have. So it's scary only because we don't know how it's going to be received. I read it and I say, "Oh, it makes perfect sense to me," but you never know. You never know. So, I mean, there's a lot of risk taking here. It's like like the PPP loan. I know a lot of people that just got fed up with it, and rightly so. I mean, the first round, they had no idea what they were doing. They were changing things every day. But I knew that I needed that money. I knew I needed it, and there was no other source of it. So I, just kept going at it and going at it. I had a great bank that really helped me, but I was determined. And it's not always easy to do the right thing, but on the long term, it really works. It really works, for your credibility.
It does. It does. All right, let's take a quick break here. Let me show you a quick video we put together for you to kind of, not that you want to relive last year, but let's take a look back at last year and how you guys made out. So you can see there's a lot happened over the year. Not the same Disch's Tavern it was back in 2015, that's for sure. So closing on that, some of the things that came up at the end and putting the ending credits of that there. Going back to 11 weeks totally closed, 4 weeks of having takeout only at night, no lunch service, no dine-in service, 2 weeks of having only takeout and just patio seating only. Obviously, weather played into that as well, though we didn't even talk about that when you have your outdoor patio. You didn't have a tent. You only had umbrellas on the table, so when you had rainy, colder days that were there in the spring and early fall, that kind of plays into games there. And then 12 weeks at 50% of your seating capacity. That's big. I mean, you are a bigger restaurant. Thankfully, you do have the seating there, but that still affects you. There's no question about it. So going over some of those numbers, when we look back at it, obviously you have adapted and adjusted a lot of things that you've done in the restaurant and how you've handled things and how you've gone about things. Looking back on what you've done over the past 13 months, what would you say is going to stick going forward? And there's some things that you've learned that maybe didn't work and you've improved upon. And the next phase of what your business model looks like, what do you think is going to carry with you?
You know, Todd, it's obviously been a big learning experience, and a lot of adjustments. But we have two things. We have a brand, which is our food, the environment. And we have a culture. And the culture is the people and the attitude of the people. Those two things have remained pretty consistent. So although we've had to change and adapt, we've retained those things. And I think that rather than it being a major learning experience, it's been a major adjustment experience in trying to preserve and protect the brand and the culture that we've created. And the culture is the people. It's their attitude. I mean, the people come to me and say, "We just feel so good being in that building." They don't understand it. Well, everyone in the building is happy. They have smiles on their face. So it's the people. And, I gotta say, what Laura and I are working on now is staffing. We don't need a lot of staff, but we need really good staff. And I gotta tell you, it's gonna be hard because, today they passed, we're gonna $1,400 checks, $300 weekly unemployment benefit with the state, which puts people at potentially $1,000 a week, and it's going to go through to September 6th. Why should someone take a job? And I thought we were ahead of it. We started 3 weeks ago advertising. We got a couple of good people, but of late there's been nothing. And I look at the numbers that the Mass Restaurant gave me today. They're looking at 500 restaurants opening for the spring and fall. Where are the people going to come from?
Right.
I mean, I think it's going to be the next. I mean, I've always said the coronavirus, it's going to be a major impact. But I still believe the economic impact of what this virus has created, is going to be the bigger impact. And they were talking about, I talked earlier about the minimum wage. Well, the federal minimum wage is $7.25. Massachusetts is $13.50. The highest in the country happens to be New York City. They're at 15. So I guess my point is, one shoe doesn't fit all. And there's definitely people hurting. There should not be food lines in the United States. There should not. Should not be. Everyone should have food, and they should have housing. But there's a lot of money being given out that really shouldn't be. I mean, to take people's incentive away to work, you can sit home and make $1,000 and then pick up a $1,400 check. It doesn't set a very good example or a very good precedent for what my industry is going to need. Because you know what? Everything we do is generated by people. The cooks, servers, who cleans the restaurant, valets, it's all people. We have, I think we were about 74 people employed. We now have, I think we're up to 60 right now. And, thank God these people do well here. But, to think that I can't find somebody who wants to, work, that's very frustrating. But I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But the indications are, people are just, they've been doing this for a year. And they hold it off for a year. And, if there's no incentive that works, unfortunately, not going to work.
We look at some of the restaurants that have closed down in Boston. All these big names, the Fours, for example. You never thought you'd see them shut their doors, and they're gone. It's unbelievable what's happened with that, and just the amount of employees they had there that have obviously now either found new jobs or moved away and done something else just to keep livelihood going. This is going to be an unknown that we don't know what's going to happen. You're right. It's a scary situation overall. Definitely scary. So, all right, we have gift card giveaway time again. You want me to pick again for you?
Yes.
All right. Let's see here. Who do we have? Stephanie Moschella. I think I just said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Oh, Stephanie?
I do.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, does Stephanie work there?
No, you should pick another one now.
Losing credibility.
Yeah.
Funny. All right. Paul, I want to show you a comment that was made here tonight here. I was going to bring it online here. From Corey Lorenko. It says, every day is a hurdle, but you have a champion as a leader. Kudos on maintaining your mantra of quality, service, and consistency daily. It says a lot about you. There's no question about it. I mean, what you've done, like Lauren said, you had COVID and you're still going to the restaurant trying to figure out what your next move is, what to do. We all know the real reason why you wanted out of the house. We get that, but we know your work ethic is unlike anybody else. I mean, out of all the clients we work with, your work ethic is unbelievable. It's a testament to what you do, and it's a testament to how the restaurant is run and why you've been so successful. There's no question about it. Everybody who knows you knows your name is behind the brand of this restaurant. It's you at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, we can blame Lauren for something at the end of the day, but it comes to Disch, man. It comes back to you every time.
You know what? I have to kind of disagree there. I mean, I appreciate it, but it's I guess the best way I can put it is every ship needs a captain. I guess I'm the captain, but then you need the people to perform, and they perform. So anything that's said about me is a reflection on them. And it's just I've been very fortunate because I've had my ups and downs in life, just like anybody. But I still have a passion for what I do, and I still love what I do. And even with this challenge we faced this year, I'm still motivated. I'm frustrated right now because we've got the financial means to finish the race, but now I got to get those people, and that's going to be frustrating for me. But you know what? I'm not a quitter. I'm somehow, some way, I'm going to figure it out. And I really, truly believe that if you really work hard at something and really give it your best, guess what? Things will work out. And I think that, you and I talked about my story on the website, and I was really mixed emotions about writing it because I think it could be perceived as something egotistical, but I did it because if I can motivate one person to really strive and perform and take on the challenges and succeed, boy, it's worth it to me. Because when you're given something, there's no sense of satisfaction. But when you work hard for something and you're successful with it, that's all the satisfaction you need. I don't need anyone telling me. You know what? I'm more interested in the person who's unhappy with what happened at Disch's Tavern. Those are the ones I'm concerned about. I love to hear the accolades, and I do, but it's it's not about me. It's about the people and buying into what I want Disch's Tavern to be. So, thanks, Corey, but.
it comes back to it. I mean, I know you don't like to talk about it, and we've talked about your Google reviews, how you get many 5 stars, and you don't feel you're 5-star quality, but everybody in the world thinks you are. And it's great that you're that hard on yourself, and it shows. I mean, it makes a big difference in the world. And I wish a lot more businesses were like that, were that hard on themselves. A lot of people take that 5-star and just, yep, it's great, fantastic, I'm doing awesome. And you look at it a different way, which is admirable. It really is. It says a lot about the brand. We've talked about it for years as a client of mine, how you talk about being the brand. You have to portray that. It has to fit the culture of the brand. And it's true. You exemplify that every single day, right down to the plating and food when it goes up to a table. Not just the quality of food, but it's the presentation. It's everything about it. It's how it's served on the table. It's how your staff interacts with the client at the table. Everything about it, from the minute they walk in the door to the time they leave. It's phenomenal. With that, I want to show you real quick. We created a quick commercial for you today. Just want to show everybody about it. Hopefully we'll start seeing this on some social media channels. Here we go. And just like it said, pride, passion, and respect. It's exactly what you are. No question about it. One of the last questions I have for you, Paul, and Lauren as well, and definitely both of you guys can chime in on this. Is there anything you want to share in reflection of this past year? How we're all in this together. Business owners are in this. They're all struggling through this. We're all trying to figure out what that next move is going to be and how we're going to get that, cross that finish line. What advice would you give another business owner who's kind of going along the similar challenges as you are right now? What advice would you give them?
You want me to go, Lauren?
All you.
Okay. Well, like I said, the restaurant business, it's driven by people. And one of the things that, people ask me about, how do you get such good people? Well, what we do is we minimize turnover. So one of the things, is you can hold someone to a high level of performance in a respectful way. And oftentimes, unfortunately, in our industry, my industry, that doesn't always happen. So my suggestion would be, look at your retention. Don't make the job easy, but set a high bar and through your own personal example, show people how the level you want the performance in. And I think that, that's, and if you're going to, my dad always said, hey, Paul, whatever you do, do well. He said, if you're going to sweep the street well. Like, my dad he was an unbelievable guy. And, he's still with me every day because whenever I have to make a big decision, first thing I say is, what would Dad do? And I get great advice. So I think we got to treat each other better. I think we got to be more respectful. We got to create a better culture. And I think that people do that, they're going to reap the rewards.
Good advice. I like that.
Yeah, I think that my dad has obviously, again, been doing this for a really long time. So he has just shown all of us like how to treat people. And I think that we had a really good, core group of people before this whole thing happened. And without that, I don't think that we would be where we are right now. Like I said before, everybody, came up and helped us and stepped up and did what they had to do. And, whether I was having a bad day or my dad was having a bad day, the people that were there for us really helped us get through this whole thing. So I think just I would say just, take care of your people. Like my dad said, taking care of them doesn't mean, not holding them to a high standard, but holding them to a high standard, but also letting them know how much we appreciate them, not necessarily during COVID times, but, just on a day-to-day basis.
Which is perfect. One of the things we've heard by doing this each week too is one of the bigger things I think is a great takeaway for business owners is reach out to one another, talk to each other, find out what's going on, because You might be dealing with one thing, they might be dealing with another thing, but yet you could solve each other's problems, or at least bounce ideas and vent. I mean, all of us in this day and age now, we all need to vent. There's no question about it. If you keep it bottled up inside, it's going to kill you. Trying to figure this out on your own is impossible, as we all have learned this past year. But I want to thank you guys tonight. It's been a great show. A lot of fun, a lot of information. We're glad you guys are still here to be part of this and be able to serve the public Disch's Tavern. It's only going to get better. We know it is. The sunny days are coming. They're definitely coming. You guys have made it. Hopefully we don't have to do a barrage of outdoor sandwich board signs anymore. You have those done and ready. You've lived through that. You've come up with every message you could possibly come up with, I think, for a sandwich board.
Agreed.
But so with that, I want to say thank you guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
We wish you the best of luck. And for those of you who don't know, please visit Disch's Tavern. You will not be disappointed. Great servings, great people, great food. And like his slogan says, passion, pride, and respect. You'll definitely will do well there. So again, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. It's been a great show. We want to remind everybody next week we have a special evening show for us. We're going to be on Tuesday night next week instead of on St. Patrick's Day. We have the Friends of Ned's Point Lighthouse in Mattapoisett. A little bit different where they're not going to be talking about COVID, but instead the saving of the lighthouse. The lighthouse is in need of some significant repair and significant foundation work. So we'll be talking to them next Tuesday night. Again, thank you so much and have a great night.
South Coast Marketing Group is a full-service marketing agency located in Mattapoisett, offering marketing services such as website development, social media management, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, logo and graphic design, print services, and anything marketing. You do your business, we do the rest. Call us today and let's start planning.